Welcome back to Live Now from Fox, and you are taking a live look across the Atlantic at the United Kingdom. This is an aerial shot right there, a beautiful shot right there, as the British flag is waving above the Thames River right there. And just a short time ago, we were hearing from the new leader of the United Kingdom, the new Prime Minister, as Britain's Labour Party has now swept to power today after more than a decade in opposition. Labour leader Keir Starmer now officially Prime Minister, leading his party back to government less than 5 years after it suffered its worst defeat in almost a century. He will now take charge in 10 Downing Street. This was hours after Thursday's votes were counted, as Conservative leader Rishi Sunak is now out. And earlier we were hearing from former Prime Minister Sunak as he exited 10 Downing Street. He was there with his wife, walking hand in hand after he was leaving the official residence of the Prime Minister, making his way to Buckingham Palace as he formally resigned with King Charles now right there. And then after that, King Charles meeting with Labour leader Keir Starmer to formally recognize him as the new Prime Minister. Just a short time ago, Starmer went to 10 Downing Street for the very first time. So I do want to play his remarks for you right now. And this is the new Prime Minister's motorcade right there as they make their way to 10 Downing Street. You can see supporters right there lining the streets, and he will be exiting momentarily. I'm going to raise the audio so we can listen in. He is going to be delivering some remarks as we saw a podium, and there he is, the new Prime Minister of the United Kingdom right there. He's going to be walking hand in hand with his wife as they enter their new residence at 10 Downing Street. Once again, I'm going to raise the audio so we can listen in. As Labour leader Keir Starmer is greeting supporters, and you can see them lining the streets right there. He is now the official Prime Minister of the United Kingdom. His party, the Labour Party, is sweeping into power after more than a decade in opposition. And this is a really significant moment in British history as the Conservative Party is now out after 14 years, the Conservative Party leading the country. Voters really unhappy about how the last 14 years have played out. Those 14 years included Brexit, a pandemic, and political scandals. And the voters made their voices known, pushing out the Conservative Party and now Britain's Labour Party in power after more than a decade in opposition. You are taking a look at the Labour leader Keir Starmer right there with his wife as they make their way to their new residence at 10 Downing Street. Earlier, he met with King Charles to officially accept that title of Prime Minister as former Prime Minister Rishi Sunak delivered his resignation. And you're taking a look right there at 10 Downing Street. You saw a very brief look at the podium right there as he is going to be delivering some remarks. But before doing so, greeting all of his supporters and voters who made this happen. This is truly a historic defeat This is the smallest number of seats in the party's two-century history, leaving it in disarray. And that is the Conservative Party, likely sparking an immediate contest to replace former Prime Minister Sunak as that party leader. So we're going to raise the volume again as we are expecting him to speak in just a matter of moments. Of course, having to meet and greet the crowd right there as voters are responsible for the fact that he is the United Kingdom's new Prime Minister. We're going to raise the audio once again.
Thank you. Good afternoon. I have just returned from Buckingham Palace, where I accepted an invitation from His Majesty the King to form the next government of this great nation. I want to thank the outgoing Prime Minister, Rishi Sunak. His achievement as the first British Asian Prime Minister of our country, the extra effort that will have required, should not be underestimated by anyone. And we pay tribute to that today. And we also recognise the dedication and hard work he brought to his leadership. But now our country has voted decisively for change, for national renewal, and a return of politics to public service. When the gap between the sacrifices made by people and the service they receive from politicians grows this big, it leads to a weariness in the heart of a nation, a draining away of the hope, the spirit, the belief in a better future, that we need to move forward together. Now, this wound, this lack of trust, can only be healed by actions, not words. I know that. But we can make a start today with the simple acknowledgement that public service is a privilege and that your government should treat every single person in this country with respect. If you voted Labour yesterday, we will carry the responsibility of your trust as we rebuild our country. But whether you voted Labour or not, in fact, especially if you did not, I say to you directly, my government will serve you. Politics can be a force for good. We will show that. We've changed the Labour Party, returned it to service, and that is how we will govern. Country first, party second. Yet, if I'm honest, service is merely a precondition of hope, and it is surely clear to everyone that our country needs a bigger reset, a rediscovery of who we are, because no matter how fierce the storms of history, one of the great strengths of this nation has always been our ability to navigate a way to calmer waters. And yet this depends upon politicians, particularly those who stand for stability and moderation, as I do, recognising when we must change course. For too long now, we've turned a blind eye as millions slid into greater insecurity. Nurses, builders, drivers, carers, people doing the right thing, working harder every day, recognised at moments like this before, yet as soon as the cameras stop rolling, their lives are ignored. I want to say very clearly to those people, not this time. Changing a country is not like flicking a switch. The world is now a more volatile place. This will take a while, but have no doubt that the work of change begins immediately. Have no doubt that we will rebuild Britain with wealth created in every community, our NHS back on its feet facing the future, secure borders, safer streets, everyone treated with dignity and respect at work, the opportunity of clean British power cutting your energy bills for good. And brick by brick, we will rebuild the infrastructure of opportunity, the world-class schools and colleges, the affordable homes that I know are the ingredients of hope for working people, the security that working-class families like mine can build their lives around. Because if I asked you now whether you believe that Britain will be better for your children, I know too many of you would say no. And so my government will fight every day until you believe again. From now on, you have a government unburdened by doctrine, guided only by the determination to serve your interest, to defy, quietly, those who have written our country off. You have given us a clear mandate, and we will use it to deliver change, to restore service and respect to politics, end the era of noisy performance, tread more lightly on your lives, and unite our country. 4 nations standing together again, facing down, as we have so often in our past, the challenges of an insecure world, committed to a calm and patient rebuilding. So, with respect and humility, I invite you all to join this government of service in the mission of national renewal. Our work is urgent, and we begin it today. Thank you very much.
And that is Britain's new Prime Minister, Keir Starmer, delivering remarks outside of his new residence, 10 Downing Street. You can see him right there holding hands with his wife as they are greeting supporters and voters who are standing outside the residence. This is very unique because this is literally outside their historic front door, talking about the need for change in the United Kingdom, the need for new leadership, addressing the voters' fatigue as it relates to how the nation is going. And this truly is a historic defeat. The Britain's Labour Party now in power after more than a decade in opposition. The Conservative Party had held that significant lead for the past 14 years. But voters now pushing out the Conservatives, upset over how the Conservative Party has handled Brexit, a pandemic, political scandals. You can see the new Prime Minister there and his wife standing outside 10 Downing Street, the official residence of the Prime Minister.